we're gonna get ready to attach our neck to the body here. And before we do this, there's one more thing that, again, it's kind of optional, but we're gonna add where all the fretboard dots are at, we're gonna add another little dot to the side right here. And we'll just mount our neck into a bench vise, and I've got a small little drill bit that's just gonna drill those little holes, and take this little white peg that I've got, I'll get that to you, and then we're gonna insert that in, snip it off, just super glue them in there and then sand it. We have a little white marker on the side as well. And then I've already marked where they're gonna be going, just right in line with those white dots there. And a little tiny drill bit, you'll get that from me. We're just drilling a small little hole that eventually we'll get some super glue and place that little dot in there and snip that off. So we'll get those all drilled. Make sure it's in line with the white dot on your fingerboard there. I would take just a small little dot of super glue right on the end of it. Just a little tiny bit is all you need. And you'll shove that in that hole there. Take some snips. Snip it off. And then we'll do some sanding on that. Again, this real tiny bit of glue is all you need. Any extra of this white peg, just get back to the teacher. After you've let that dry for a little bit, just take sander here and just kind of sand it over. We just want to make sure it's nice and flush and even, and if there's any glue smudges, get that sanded off. Should be left with a nice little white dot. When we go to attach this neck, do a couple dry fits first with no glue. Just see how it goes on here, making sure that there's almost no gap here if possible. If there is a gap, you might have to do some sanding or chiseling on this tenon area to try to get that shape to be nice and tight. And that's gonna take some time. Get some help if you need to with this. On mine, if I'm looking at it, if it's held really tight, it's pretty good. There's not a lot of gap going on, but I could do a little bit of sanding if I need to, just to get that nice and tight. We want to clamp this a couple different spots. So we're going to throw a clamp here, holding this fretboard nice and tight down. So we will be putting glue here and getting that clamped on. And then we're also going to try to throw a clamp pressure direction this way, from that heel of the neck to the very bottom of that ukulele. So get yourself two different clamps, and one of these clamps is going to just be attaching right here, and you want it held as straight as you can before you clamp this. We're looking at the neck alignment as well, with the sound hole, with everything, making sure it's not tweaked one way or the other. This is why we do a dry fit with no glue, to make sure everything's going to work. Our other clamp, it's going to go this direction here, and this is tricky because the shape of your neck here, you might not get a good fit, but do the best you can. Maybe just put the clamp at slightly at an angle. You're just trying to get some pressure, just seeing how it's going to come together with no glue. So I'm looking at my joint here. I'm also looking at both sides and my neck alignment. And this one actually looks pretty good. So I think we're ready to glue, but if you need to modify anything on this part here, you can get the teacher's help to try to get that a really nice, good fit. We've got to go ahead to start gluing this. We're going to be placing glue on this underneath part of the fretboard. Place glue on the little tenon area right here, and then maybe a little bit inside the mortise. You just don't want the glue squeezing out everywhere, but you want a decent coverage that it's going to get a good glue up everywhere. And so get some glue on that and then spread that around so that it covers that whole surface area. Again, you don't want so much glue squeezing out everywhere, but you want it to cover the entire part here. So I'm just going to spread that around all the way out to the edges so it does get a good glue up the whole way. I'm going to take some and put it inside this mortise just a little bit. Okay, try not to get glue smudges all over the fretboard here. So if you got glue on your fingers, maybe get a wet paper towel and wipe all that glue off before you start handling it, because you don't want to get fingerprints of glue all over your nicely sanded neck. Slide that in place. Again, double check that your alignment is right, that it's not tweaked one way or the other way too much. It should be nice and straight. Some good pressure. Looks pretty good. Looking for a good tight fit everywhere. If it needs to be adjusted at all, we can adjust some things before that glue dries. I'm just looking down, make sure the alignment is straight. We're pretty good. Now at this point, if you see any glue squeeze out, I've got some glue squeezing out right here, you're going to want to get a wet paper towel before this is dry and scrub that out of there. You don't want any wet glue showing it all. And really get that nice and cleaned up. If you let that glue dry, it's a real hassle to try to get that glue off later. Let that dry at least half an hour, maybe even an hour, and then our neck should be on there.